when you think about China's political system, it's become an increasingly scary place under Xi Jinping in particular. So you have this sweeping anti-corruption campaign, which he's initiated, which has punished more than 1.5 million officials. You have his abolition of presidential term limits, his experimentation with re-education camps in the west of China, and a focus on ideology at home. And when Chinese diplomats see these signals, they know exactly how to interpret them. They know that in the past, when Chinese diplomats have got on the wrong side of the regime, they've ended up in quite severe trouble. And so what they've done, I think, is start to mimic the very ambitious way that Xi Jinping speaks about China's role in the world, and his great confidence for the role that China ought to play and the degree of respect that it deserves. But they've also paired that with this need to respond to that constant sense of threat and insecurity that is just part and parcel of working in the Chinese political system. And so that new tone kind of started after 2008-9, intensified under Xi Jinping in 2012, and then really went into high gear during the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. And I think it's that same thing, right, that drove it. It's this sense that, on the one hand, China is being criticized from all sides for, allegedly covering up its role in the outbreak of the pandemic. And on the other hand, it managed to contain the outbreak much better than North American and Western European countries. And it kind of feels like, why should I have to listen to this criticism when I've been so much more able? And so that combination of those two things really set a new tone for Chinese diplomacy. And we've seen diplomats talking about China's central role in the world, the extraordinary leadership of Xi Jinping, handing out copies of Xi Jinping's book on governance, just like diplomats handed out Mao's Little Red Book decades ago. And I guess of all people, Foreign Ministry spokesman Zhao Lijin has kind of become the face of this new phenomenon. And so he was this relatively obscure figure who was based in Islamabad and picked a Twitter fight with former National Security Advisor Susan Rice, and kind of rocketed to fame and was appointed China's Foreign Ministry spokesman. He has subsequently, he angered the Trump administration by suggesting that the US Army had deliberately started COVID-19 in Wuhan. He's kind of become the face of it in many ways, but he's not alone. There are other figures. Wei Tongyo in Sweden, China's ambassador there, was summoned by Sweden's foreign ministry 40 times in the space of 2 years. And he said in a media interview, for our friends, we have fine wine, and for our enemies, we have shotguns, which really gives you a taste of the approach that he wants to take to diplomacy.